All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening to you. Good evening. I hope you can hear me from wherever you're watching us live from tonight episode of the Corporate Live Show with McAden. I'm so excited. We are live once again, and we are doing this. It is going to be an interesting conversation on the show tonight, and we are here live and direct. My guest is also here, and we are so happy that we're doing this together this night to change the narrative around the mindset around volunteering. And I do hope that at the end of this conversation tonight, you will become better, and your approach to volunteering roles and responsibility will become different. So that is why tonight we'll be looking at the topic volunteering. Volunteering, a tool for personal development and business growth. Volunteering, a tool for personal development and business growth. My guest is here in the studio with me, and he will be sharing a lot of insights around the topic based on the question we have for him on the show tonight. And mind you, this is not a conversation you will have. You have yourself listening to without a colleague, a friend also joining you. Tonight, because it's going to be a mind blowing session, and it's going to be an interesting session. It's going to be a light sharing session. So you don't want to miss the conversation tonight, and that's why we want to. I'm using this opportunity to encourage you to invite friends, families, colleagues out there to join us in tonight's episode of the Corporate Live Show with McAden. My name is Adene Makati, and my guest on the show tonight is Seun Odegbami, and we're so happy and so delighted to have you, Mr. Seun, on the show tonight. I'm so glad you are able to make it. So let's invite Mr. Seun to the show tonight so that we can start the conversation proper. All right, Mr. Seun, are you there with us?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
All right, Mr. Seun, you are welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you very much for the invite. I'm honored to be here.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Seun. It's as if I cannot hear you clearly. Your voice is not so loud at my hand there. I don't know whether the challenge is from my hand. But then, if you are listening to us on the show right now, joining us, okay, I think I can get some sound from there. So please, if you're joining us, wherever you're joining us tonight, please drop a comment in the comment section. Let's get to know where you are joining us from tonight, because it's going to be an interesting conversation, and we'll be talking about the topic around the aspects that most professionals ignore for their career development, and also how this topic relates to business growth. We're going to be dealing with such a topic tonight. So, Mr. Sean, before we dive into the questions we have for you on the show tonight, can you quickly share with us some insights or some highlights why you think the topic tonight is a must listen to for every young professionals out there? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. For people who are, I think this is more tailored to people who don't have enough experience and are looking for an opportunity to show their skills. So most people, usually learn a skill. Maybe, for instance, you learn a digital marketing skill, you learn how to run Facebook ads. But if you are unable to experiment around what you've learned, that means that you can't actually use it to get a job. So you go for a job interview and they're asking you, you say, oh, okay, I studied digital marketing, I know how to run Facebook ads, but then again, there is no experience to show that. And you're at the interview and they're asking you, how many years of experience do you have? How long have you done it for? So volunteering gives you the opportunity to be able to use your skills and give yourself some level of training. You can always fall and pick up, but you can add all these trainings that you've had, and then when you seek to get a job, you can just mention all the things that you've done, even if it is volunteering. You've actually used your skills that you've learned to make something out of it. So that's how I see volunteering. I see it as opportunity for the person who is volunteering if they are willing to use their skills to get a desired outcome. Yeah. Hi, Makati. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I'm here with you. I'm here with you, so I can
Yep.
hear you. So, with what you just said, volunteering provides you the opportunity to have additional experience, and that can be attached to your CV, right? So in
Yes.
a simple way, we have not started the conversation yet. We have not even dived into the question yet. In a simple way, how will you define volunteering in a way that covers the two angles of our topic for tonight's conversation? Remember, tonight's conversation is volunteering for personal development and for business growth. For those that are willing to be an entrepreneur in their endeavor, and for those who want to work with organizations as an employee. So how will you define volunteering? Thank you.
Okay. So volunteering as regarding the topic of today would look this way. So when you volunteer, you use your skills, and that skill that you use, you develop it in the process of working for whoever you're volunteering for. And that is personal development. So you've taken it upon yourself. Usually, personal development involves maybe you taking up a course, upskilling, right? But in this case, when you are volunteering, you're actually using your skills to gain an experience. You work with them. So it's personal development. So personal development can either be you upskilling, that means taking courses or getting a training, whether it's vocational or whichever way. That's personal development. So you are moving from where you are to another point, right? If you know how to write, maybe you decide that you want to take up a skill in copywriting. So that's personal development. It's going to help you, even if it's contributing to the business, but it's going to help you because obviously, if you upskill, you earn more. So personal development. And then when it comes to business growth, whatever you are going to do, whether you are volunteering for somebody who is running an event or maybe a non-profit organization, there's always a business goal. Maybe for a non-profit organization, business goal might not be money, right? Maybe the business goal is how much traffic they are able to drive to their community. That can be a goal for the business, right? How much
Mhm.
traffic they can drive to their community, how much people can join a live session like this. That can also be a goal as well because we're talking about results. How many people can we train in our organization? Can we train 100? Can we train 20? So it depends on the business goal, right? Some business goals may be monetary or tied to revenue. So it's now determined is your skill related to revenue. Let's say that you have a sales skill. Maybe they need certain people to showcase their products. Are you available to do so? Are you able to do so? If you're able to do so and convince somebody to get on board the product or the service, then automatically that is you contributing to business growth as a volunteer.
Wow, that is interesting. That is interesting. Thank you very much for breaking it down for us in that manner. So let's dive properly into the questions we have for you today. So, Mr. Shield, the first question is on the screen for you, and it says, "Who can benefit from volunteering, and is it limited to certain professions and industries?"
Okay, for volunteering, just about anybody can volunteer, right? And it's not limited to certain professions and industries. So the thing is, how would I say this way? Some people are engineers, for instance, but they also have knowledge about project management, right? So maybe they studied engineering in school as their core program, and they graduated with BSc engineering or MSc engineering, and they probably work in an oil and gas company, maybe downstream, right? They're still an engineer, but they also like doing project management. They can manage projects. If someone gives them a project to do, they can manage it end to end, right? Get all the things needed, the tools, all the resources available, and ensure that the project gets together. But does that stop you from being an engineer? No. Does being an engineer stop you from being a project manager? No. Let's not assume this engineer decides that, oh, there's a non-governmental organization that is close to my office, and I would like to volunteer for them. And I ask them and tell them by the side, oh, I have some skills in project management. I just learned project management, or I like project management. I would like to take up, maybe they have an orphanage drive. I'd like to take up the orphanage drive that you guys are going to do this month, and I would like to manage it end to end, right? So we can see that it is not affecting the person's profession. It doesn't affect the person that affect the fact that the person is doing oil and gas, right? So you can always volunteer and always have your profession. So your profession does not affect what you are volunteering for. So the major challenge
Interesting.
people have is balancing. That is the
Hmm.
major challenge
I
people
think
have. Balance.
I think we'll
They
get there.
don't know
I
how
think
to
we'll get there.
balance the two. So when we get there, we'll explain more.
All right, thank you very much. Quickly, it's becoming interesting, and you can see Mr. Shion is already trying to move into questions we have for us on the show. Those questions are supposed to come in the nearest future, but stay tuned as you join us on the conversation here at the Corporate Live Show. Uh, in the studio with me with tonight, we're still dealing with mastering. I mean, understanding. I mean on using volunteering as a tool for personal development and business growth. And we cannot exhaust questions on the show tonight, but with the limited time available to us, we're going to deal with these questions here. And that's why we'll be going to the next question. And here you have it on the screen, Mr. Shield. The question is question two. What is the biggest misconception about volunteering that you like to what to set straight on the show tonight?
So the biggest misconception has to do with people just wanting to volunteer and not do anything. Like they just want to volunteer for a program, right? They just want to volunteer
Mm,
for a program, and they just want to volunteer for a program, have their name, and say, "Oh,
mm,
I'm a volunteer for this program." But you know how we say it here, that volunteer by mouth. They don't participate,
mm,
they don't do anything, they are not active, but they are in the group, or they are in the community, but they
mm-hmm,
don't want to contribute to it, right? So if you are
mm,
volunteering, it is the same energy that you use to do other things that you also bring in to the volunteering. If you're not doing the two,
mm-hmm,
then you can as well do not volunteer, right? Because they say it's volunteer
yeah,
doesn't mean that you don't make any commitment. Whether it is 1 hour every week that you want to commit, you commit the 1 hour every week. Whether it's 30 hours every week, you commit to it. That's how you actually volunteer. But for most people, they just want to volunteer without any commitment. They want to be in uh, they want to be among the people that they mention as the people who led this initiative, but they don't want
mm,
to contribute, right? Me, I understand when it comes to volunteering that people have life outside volunteering. That's why you don't need to volunteer for everything. You need to be in a certain space and mind to be able to volunteer. If not, when
mm.
you come in as a volunteer, you're going to have issues. So I think that's the biggest misconception about volunteering.
Wow, interesting, interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Uh, some people right now are thinking, are you talking about me? Wait, let's even bring it closer. Uh, why would you say that some people just want to volunteer just because they want to add to, I mean, they want to be in the know. No, I'm part of this list of people that contributed to this, whereas they didn't actually contribute. Have you had personal experience with such people before now?
Yes, I've had a lot of personal experiences, right? You know, when you're in school, when they give a team assignment, right? If
Mm,
you remember when you're in school and they give a team
mm,
assignment and they put some people in your team, two people will do the work. The remaining will not show up until the last day. Then when they are not celebrating your team,
mm,
the remaining people that not show up wants to take the glory of the two people that did the actual work, right? And that's what people do in real life. I've seen it
mm,
recently. Was it earlier this year, right? We're supposed to
mm.
work together towards an event. People didn't show up. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And then on the day of the event, these people that refused to show up
They
showed
showed
up
up.
on the day of that event. When it was time to snap picture of the team members of the event,
They
they
were the
came to
loudest.
snap picture. No shame.
Oh God
No
of heaven,
shame. They snap
interesting.
picture. They snap picture. So that's a typical example that happened in front of me. How much more the others that happen outside. So you can see that these
Mm.
things happen. Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly move on to the next question. Taking it from the angle that these things actually happens, and so a lot of people will give you excuses for not showing up when it is at the planning stage of an event or for a project. So let's ask this question: is there a best time in one's career to volunteer, or uh can it be beneficial at any stage at all in one's career?
So you can volunteer in any stage of your career. And so, I mean, for instance, I'll give for instance, my dad. My dad has been in the Rotary Club for years. And in the Rotary Club, they do outreaches. They help them, renovate their schools, go to orphanages, they do some medical outreaches. So that's volunteering. That's not his 9 to 5 or what he was doing, right? But that's things that you do outside your work that can also help satisfy you as well, your contribution to society, right? He was doing that
Yeah,
outside his regular 9 to 5. So that is
nine to
also
five.
volunteering. He will go when his team members are going. He will say, "Oh, I'm going. We are going to this hospital. We are going to do outreach in an hospital, and we are going to buy them gifts, food stuff, you know." And that's somebody that is way old, 70 plus, right? So if you say there has to be, there's no specific. It's not specific, right? You can volunteer at any point in time. It doesn't have to, there's no like best time, but there's actually a time. I won't say best time, but there is a how do I call it? You need to be at a certain mental state to be able to take on volunteer roles. Is like I was trying to
Mm,
reiterate earlier, it's not easy to combine the two. That is why people will give 101,000 valid excuse that they were not able to volunteer or meet up. No, their excuses are valid, to be honest. If you look at the excuses people give, they are valid. Some say, oh, they're sick. Some say life is happening to them or they are not able to catch up, work. It's valid. I'm not invalidating their reasons why they cannot volunteer. But I'm saying that there needs to be a mental readiness for you to volunteer because take it or leave it, you'll be
mm-hmm,
doing actual work. You'll be doing it as if it's an actual work. So imagine getting, you have your day job, your other activities, and getting another actual job. And that actual job,
mm,
second job that you're getting, you're not being paid for it. Do you get? So, how
yeah.
do you reward yourself? You're doing a volunteer
Mm,
job that you're not being paid for. How do you reward yourself? So you now have to decide that. I mean, this there's no reward for volunteering. right? So volunteering, reward for volunteering is not it's not an instant reward. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's
Yeah,
not like
I agree with
everybody's
that.
going to reward you or
Yeah.
give dash you money for volunteer. Nobody's dashing money for volunteering. Do you get? So the reward is not instant,
Yes.
and people are a lover of instant reward. Once they are not rewarded or they
Mm.
don't get what they want within a time frame, they just let it go and just move ahead with other things. So people's reasons are valid. There is no best time to volunteer, but there is a right time to volunteer. So the right time will not have to do with, are you capable or have the capacity to volunteer at that moment? I think
Mm.
that's the conversation that we should be having. Most people might not be capable. They might have the skills, but they might
Mm.
not have the capability to be able to take on an extra role as a volunteer. That's the challenge that they'll have. Do they have the capability to do that? If they work a 9 to 5 that they probably close around 7, they get home around 10, Monday to Friday, right? Where is the time to answer messages? Where is the time to prepare for? So then by weekend they are resting on Saturday. On Sunday is church. They come back, they rest, prepare for Monday. There is no time for volunteer. Like I said, it's valid, very valid excuses. But again, you need the right capability and the capacity to be able to volunteer. But there's no best time. You can do it at any point in your life.
Wow, interesting, interesting. I will want to draw a question from what you just said now because it's very important to volunteering. Um, how do you measure your capacity or capability at a point in time to volunteer?
Okay, so one of the ways um, I would like to measure it in terms of capacity is that, number one, are you doing anything at the moment? Like, is there anything you're doing? If you're not doing anything, if you are out of a job, volunteer. Like, that's a no-brainer,
Hmm.
right? That means
I
that
like
you
that.
have the
I like that.
capacity to volunteer. It's a no-brainer. You don't have anything that you're doing now. Carry it and do it, right? Then go ahead and do.
Why
In terms
searching
of
for a job?
capacity,
Volunteer.
yes, while searching for a job, exactly. Keep yourself busy, keep your mind active, right? Keep your mind
Hmm.
active. Capability will be, maybe you might not be able to afford maybe data to do some of the work or the tasks that will be given to you. You can ask the person who you are volunteering for if they are willing to give you data. At least I know most people give data, even if they don't give you money, right? They can give you
Mm-hmm.
data money. You use it to buy data and do the work, pending the time that you get a job. So if you don't have a job, it's a no-brainer for you to volunteer, right? Then if you now have a job, do you have the capacity to do the two together? When I mean capacity, I mean resources. Some people are not good in multitasking. When I mean multitasking, they can't do two things at the same time. They only focus on one thing. If they have a 9 to 5 job, that's the only thing they can do. They cannot do side business by the side. The side business will crash because they can't juggle the two
Hmm.
together. So you need to know if you are the kind of person that you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to work for Big Four, right? You're an entrepreneur, you want to
Hmm.
work for Big Four. You are working for another tech company. Maybe by the side during the weekend you do laundry, you have a laundry mat, right? By the weekend. Some people genuinely have the capacity to do multiple things at the same time and structure themselves, and they know how they program themselves and they make it work. But for some people, they can't do two, three things together, and that's capacity, right? Can you do this all these things together? Some people can juggle, like, have you seen some people, they juggle like 4 5 things, and they're doing 4 5 things and you don't even know what they're doing. If you ask them today, they're doing this, if you ask them today. So they have the capability to be able to do that. That's one. Then the capacity to be able to do that is to be able to look at what time in my entire 24 hours, 6 7 days a week can I dedicate to this in my entire calendar. Can I bring out 30 minutes? Can I bring out 1 hour? Can I bring out 2 hours to ensure that you make your own contributions and to get it done? Because everything is intentionality. If you're not intentional about it, you will have problem. So I personally had
Mm.
problem also with volunteering as well. That's why if you are getting volunteer, it's not compulsory. If a volunteer is not doing so well, you could drop them. What's that? You can drop them,
Mm.
like
I like that.
let them go and discover themselves, and it's not necessary you keep them. You can let them take a step away. It's okay for them to take a step, and that doesn't mean that you guys are fighting or you guys have an argument. It's just that you just feel that at that moment they cannot take up the capacity of a volunteer, so you let them go instead of keeping them on to the very end. You let them go, so you would know if a volunteer cannot put in the entire effort. You can, just subtly let them. So for instance, we did an event in 2024, right? And there were some volunteers that came on
Mhm.
board. When it was time for 2025, 90% of those people were doing as if they did not do 2024 events. Like I don't know if you are getting me. I don't know whether it was because the time taking people had
Mhm.
relaxed or something. But in my mind, I was like, these people don't have the capacity to do 2025. And what did I do? I removed all of them. People get to me say, hey, you remove me from the group, community, you remove me. Why do you remove me? You did not ask me. So you are in the group. When I was asking questions and saying, you did not contribute, I now removed you. You now remember that you are a volunteer. I said, look, I'm not removing you because I hate you. I'm removed because I know that at this point, you are not able to do 2005 to 2025, which is okay. It's fine. You've done 2024. You've done a fantastic job. Can carry your bag and go. Have your head high. But it means that you are not ready for 2025, and that's just it. Because people were not answering on the group, they were not responding, they were not. And when you bring in new people, it's the vibe of the old people that the new people will take. I don't know if you are getting me. You, so
Yes.
I had to
Yeah, I get it.
flush all of them. And I flushed all of them, started another group. The new group was more vibrant. It was more vibrant. So sometimes you need to let some volunteers go. They don't need to continue with you. If they spent a part, maybe in future people should do timed volunteering. Can volunteer for 1 year. You can now renew it after a year and say, do I want to continue? So that it doesn't feel like an obligation, or they feel like that they owe you owe you an obligation to always serve you as a volunteer, right? So I think maybe it should be renewed. Can renew your volunteering with somebody after a year. You can decide, do I want to continue? Doesn't take away the fact that you've done an amazing job when you volunteered, and you can still use that as a reference point. But it just means that you can always stop and maybe come back again. I don't know if you can hear me. Hear me? Yeah, okay, I can hear you now. I think your line is off. Okay, probably network.
Yes, Mr. Sheung, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I don't know if I was disconnected or you were disconnected or something. I know I've been speaking. Uh, Thank you for how much you have been able to share with us on the topic of the conversation for tonight. It's been an eye opener so far. That you can actually drop a volunteer, and you yourself as a volunteer, you can drop yourself. That is an addition from my end. Before you get dropped, drop yourself so that you don't get dropped and you feel embarrassed. Yes, I've come across people who were dropped and they felt embarrassed because they were dropped from a team where they been there inactive. So let's just go straight to the next question. I know there are a lot of questions around volunteering and volunteering. So the next question is very, very important. And that's why we're dealing with such question right now. And so question number 4 says, can volunteering be a business strategy to attract new customer or top talent? And if so, how?
I mean, I don't subscribe to making people volunteer so that you can acquire customers. I think it's a little bit tricky to use volunteering to acquire customers or top talent. Usually, if you want to acquire a customer, you should pay for it. Like whether it's still running ads or going out sharing flyers or the likes. But we've seen businesses use volunteering to attract new customers, right? Um, there's this fintech that has like a program where they go to schools and they have ambassadors in the schools, right? So sometimes these ambassadors, they end up becoming interns in the organization, right? And then they end up getting a full time role. So more like developing a talent, right? And obviously, the person will be very good for them to be able to move through the ranks, right? Also, those kind of opportunities when people see brands that do those kind of programs, they get attracted to the product and service they are selling, and if it's targeted towards the demography of the people who they are doing the program for, they will naturally come as new customers to the service. I don't know if you're getting me, right? Because that's the target market you are.
Yeah.
So if your ambassadorship program is targeted towards students and your product and service serves students, it's just automatically going to mean that as you're acquiring a volunteer, you would acquire a customer because they can use your service. So it can be a way of attracting new customers and top talent, right? But it's a very what's it called? It's a very slippery stroke. So yeah, Makati, I think your network has gone off again. Hopefully, it gets back as soon as possible.
Mr. Shimon, are you there?
Yeah, I think you dropped off.
Okay, I was actually navigating between the questions, so I was off from the screen so that you can just go on and say whatever you want to say to the question. Well, I noticed you paused. Is it because I was off for a while?
No, I'm done already.
Okay. So, in your own opinion, the conclusion is that you don't believe that volunteers should be used for uh, uh, business in such a way that you should use them to attract more customers into the business. Is that what your conclusion is about?
So what I'm saying is that it's a slippery slope, right? You can use it, but it's just to ensure that you're not using people. That's what I'm trying to say. You can use it, but don't use people. If you could pay those volunteers, pay them, right? You can't use that as an opportunity. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's quickly move on to the next question. We are still talking on the stage two, and as and the following is two. Our business growth and we in the studio. I mean, if you're in the main out there, and all they drop a comment in the comments. Let's go been saying so far opinion about the questions. So I want to uh answer the question so that we can all cover the rest of the question before tonight. So this question 5 and it says uh question. Hello, Mr. Shem, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Shem, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. The network has not been friendly. But then we have to conclude the conversation before we we go from here. So You've seen the question, right? Question five. Question five is saying, how can volunteering be a business? Uh, sorry, sorry, that's an error. I'm talking about question five. It should be about career using using. Let me just display that for us so that we can have a grasp easily. So question five. So how can volunteering be a strategy career move for someone into a new industry? That's a question for question five.
So I think Marketing, I think you've left. So I think for question number five, I have answered question number five before, where I use the example of the engineer, right, who has the ability and can do project management. So if I don't know if you're hearing me earlier.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was saying that I've answered this question earlier, where I gave an example of the engineer who knows project management, right? Let's assume that that engineer doesn't want to become an engineer any longer, and now he wants to be a project manager. That's the best way he's going to transition to another career, right? Strategically. I don't know if you're getting me. So it can also work as a strategic career move. Usually, if you're an engineer, nobody's going to give you a project management work easily like that. You need to show workings, like they say. But if you are volunteering and you're doing project management, it will be easy to. It will make sense to show your project management work than your engineering job. If you want to get a project, if you want to get a job as a project manager. I don't know if you got my explanation. Did you get my explanation?
Okay. Mr. Sean, can you hear me, please?
I can hear you now.
All right, thank you very much. So question six, because of our time so far, so go. Let's just move forward as fast as possible. What are some key indicators displayed that on the screen already, so that you can capture that easily? So what are some key indicators that your volunteering efforts are having positive impact on your personal and professional growth?
Okay. So I mean, amazing work means that you have results, right? And the people who are going to sing your praises are not, definitely you won't sing praises of yourself. It's people that have seen how much work you have done when you were volunteering and how excellent you have done the job. They would automatically recommend you, based on how excellent or how great you've done a job. They will recommend you. So it would affect your professional life. There's no how it's not affecting your personal life, your personal growth. Because when you volunteer, when you do excellent work, the reward for excellent work is that people begin to talk about what you do and who you are. So it's a no-brainer. It would go hand in hand. So it will help you, right? You just need to do good work. That's all.
Question seven, very fast. Uh,
I can't hear you if you are speaking.
Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Can you confirm that you can hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, so we're moving straight to question 7 because of our time. Um, I hope you can see question 7 on the screen.
Yes.
Okay, so what are some common pitfalls to watch out for when volunteering, and how can you overcome them?
So, what are the common pitfalls to watch out for in volunteering, and how can you overcome them? Uh, I would say your ability to manage your time properly. So, that has to do with how long do you want to volunteer. You need to also be clear about that. If you are clear about how you volunteer, then you'll be able to understand the kind of contributions you can make. So if you're only available 5 times a week, let people know that you are only available 5 times a week. If it's once a week, let them know that it's once a week that you like to volunteer. So time management is one common pitfall to watch out for doing volunteering. Number two thing to watch out for is to ensure that whatever you are volunteering for is related to your goals, your future goals. So a lot of people just want to volunteer, maybe for the sake of, or maybe the benefit that they will get. But what is the benefit to you as well as a volunteer? If you want to be a doctor, right, I'll be expecting that possibly where you volunteer for would be a clinic, right? Because you want to be a doctor. So those are the things to look out for in terms of common pitfalls to watch out for when volunteering, right? If you want to overcome such challenges, you will need to read more, get more books to read so that you can help yourself as a volunteer. What other pitfalls as a volunteer would you encounter? Um, Sometimes as a volunteer, you might not have the capacity to do the job. So I would advise that you also, don't overstretch yourself. Don't When you get burnt out, you cannot be of value to yourself or to anybody. So don't overstretch yourself. Volunteering one at a time. You cannot be volunteering in 60 WhatsApp groups. And out of the 60 WhatsApp group, you are a team lead in 30 of them. You are going to collapse at the end of the day. So those are the things that you watch out for in terms of pitfalls in volunteering and how to overcome them. Yeah. Makata, is he here? Okay, we would wait for you to come back. Just going to wait for Kati to come. Okay, sorry for the break in transmission. I'm just going to quickly run through the rest of the questions. We are at number 8. Can volunteering be used to sponsor a project or initiative? And what are the essential consideration? So yes, volunteering can be used to sponsor a project and an initiative. Uh, but the thing about it is, if you want volunteers, you also have to be a giver. Someone who is not a giver cannot get volunteers. You can't necessarily just wake up and say, "Oh, I need volunteers." People don't like what your brand is. They would not move towards you, right? So volunteering can be used to sponsor a project and initiative. Yes. Then number 9, what's the secret
Okay.
to balancing volunteering?
Mr. Shimon, can you hear me, please?
I can hear
I
you.
think I'm back. Okay, thank you very much. I'm back fully. Sorry for that network glitch. So let's wrap up the conversation. I know you just responded to question uh 8. So let's look at question 9. What's the secret to balancing volunteering role as a busy uh you have the question on the screen, right?
Yes, I have the question here. So there's no secret per se. I think the key ingredient here is intentionality. That's the key ingredient. Are you intentional about it? Why did you join? Why do you want to volunteer? That's the question. Why do you want to volunteer? What is your goal for volunteering? Are you volunteering because everybody's volunteering for Makati? So me too. I want to volunteer. That's not a goal. That's just you following the crowd because that's a nice to have and that's what everybody is doing and it's exciting. If you have the goal at the back of your mind that, oh, I'm going to volunteer for Makati because I believe that I can contribute to 100 lives, right? That's a goal you have in mind. It might not be whatever the goal might be, but you just have to be intentional about it. That's the only thing that can help you. Every other thing you will not work motivation. But if you're intentional about it, you will try as much as possible to make time, resources for volunteering.
Wow, interesting. For me, I also think adding a goal to it will help your intentionality stay strong. So thank you very much, Mr. Shield. Can you see hear me, please? Like, can I get feedback from you?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. So let's move on straight to question 10. As we come to the end of the conversation, though we have one more question before we go. Question 10 is do you think everyone should be given the opportunity of a volunteering position? That's what the question. And should there be a screening exercise, just like we have for those applying for paid jobs?
I think there should be a screening exercise. Not everybody is volunteer fit. Like I said earlier, some people just want to join the bandwagon.
Mm,
They don't have goal or ambition. They just is flashy. It's flashy. And
mm,
anything flashy, after a while, um I've forgotten what they call it. There's a way they call it in marketing where people see something flashy and they pick it up like it's the next best thing for them at that moment because that is what is raining and that's what people are talking about. So because people are saying volunteer, 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 it's good for you. They come to this kind of program, they are gingered. Do you understand? They now go and volunteer and you now find out that
mm.
they are wasting your time
Yeah.
and your resources. So yes, they should be screened. The more you screen people, more the quality of the kind of people that you get on board, right? As the person who is leading volunteer, you won't be too frustrated. You won't have a mediocre person volunteer because mediocre people too also volunteer. People that can't do much, they also volunteer as well, right? People that do average volunteer, people that do excellent work volunteer. So please screen, but your screening cannot be as harsh as. a normal recruitment, right? But do find a way to like
Mm-hmm.
screen, and everyone should be given an opportunity. It shouldn't be closed up to some certain people. Everyone should be given an opportunity to volunteer. Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Based on this response, I have a question. There is this common thing about volunteering. You hear this one call himself, I'm a serial volunteer. Even on LinkedIn profiles, you see serial volunteer, serial volunteer, here and there. Uh, do you believe in serial volunteering? What
I've
do you
never
think
heard
about
of that
that?
word before. I've never heard of that word
Seriously?
before. I've
Wow.
never. I've
You've
never heard of
never.
that word
Oh,
before.
I've okay.
Serial volunteer. I've never heard
Okay.
of it before.
I should allow you to do your research anyway. Maybe one of these days we'll
Yeah,
meet and then
I
we'll
would.
have that
I
conversation.
Yeah, I would do my research, but for someone to call themselves a serial volunteer, well, they must be in the realms. They must be
In the
seeing vision
realms.
that we're not seeing. There must be
Okay.
a higher vision that they're not seeing. That's why they are serial volunteers. They are jumping from one place to
Okay.
another, which is fine. I mean, you can move from one place to another, which is fine. It's not. I think it's a problem, but I don't know when it became a thing, a career, or no, for lack of a better career obsession where you are volunteering up and down, up and down, up and down. When do you have time for
Mm-hmm.
yourself? If you keep volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
when do you have time for your own goals?
Mm-hmm.
That must mean that you don't have any other goals. You are carrying out people's vision and mission, which is fine too. But a serial
Okay.
volunteer, I've only heard of serial entrepreneur. This is my first time of hearing about serial. But if you're a serial volunteer, well, I wish you the best of luck.
all,
It's
all the
interesting.
best. Interesting. Indeed, interesting. Anyway, I've come across some people that call themselves serial volunteer. I've met ladies that call it themselves serial volunteer. So, for me, I drew the conclusion that okay, these people just like to be in that space of oh, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. Just like the people that you've come across that will not show up when it is time for planning, but will be there when it's time for also take pictures. So that's what I've seen play out in a lot of cases where people call themselves serial volunteer. All right, so the last question is mostly something, I mean, something a little bit personal, but then you're going to give us a response to this. So, what advice will you give to someone new to volunteering and wants to make a meaningful impact? That's question 11.
Well, I would say just like you mentioned earlier on, you mentioned goal. Have a goal in mind. That's the best way to make meaningful impact. Have If you don't have a goal, you can't make meaningful impact. Have a goal in mind. If I'm volunteering for you, why am I volunteering exactly? What's the goal of am I just volunteering because there's an opportunity to volunteer and they've said, oh, volunteering is good. With volunteer you can get job. With volunteer you can use the experience. With volunteer you can network. They are nice to have, but what is your goal? When you have that
Mm,
at the back of your mind, you can make meaningful impact. If you say my goal is to ensure that event McCarthy is doing that is bringing 1,000 people, I'm going to ensure that I bring 1,000 people to this event by fire, by force. That's a goal. So whatever they are doing would work towards whatever they do or whatever activity that they carry out will be driving them towards that goal, which is the 1,000 attendees, right? So it helps people visualize
mm,
what the goal can be like and just direct them. So I'll say go will allow you to make a meaningful impact.
mm. First, thank you for the response, even though that it came like a very summarized one for us. Okay, and as we wrap up the conversation, for tonight's conversation, uh, in your own way, what will you tell the public about volunteering?
I would say
Those
volunteer
willing to
as
use
much
it
as
for business growth, and for those who are willing to use it to boost their career growth.
I would say volunteer as much as possible as a volunteer as much as possible as a person, but don't take too much. Don't do too much. If you don't have the capacity to lead a team when you're volunteering, don't do it. It's okay for you to also be on the sidelines and contribute from that place. So don't overwork yourself with 10 volunteers or call yourself a serial, what's it called? Volunteer.
Say
A
a
serial
volunteer.
volunteer, and you are volunteering for 10 people, 10 places. We don't even know where you are. I think it's too much, except you don't have a life of your own.
Mm-hmm.
Except you don't have a life of your own, and except maybe you're generating some sort of money from volunteering, which we've established from the beginning that volunteering, they give money. There's no
Mm.
money. We're not saying that there are no results, but we're saying that there's no tangible result in terms of like monetary effort. Except it's a career for
Yes.
you, then maybe those people who are talking about, maybe it has become a career for them and they're making money from it, which is fine.
Okay.
For
That is also
businesses,
new.
for businesses who want to use volunteering, yes, they can use volunteering, but please, as much as possible, don't cheat people. If you maybe if you can afford to give them data, that would be fine. Money for
Mm.
data, I think that would make a lot of sense. Give people money for data, even if you cannot like afford to pay them as a business. Because if you are benefiting from that relationship, the relationship should be two-way, right? Give
Yeah.
and take. It shouldn't be one person feeding off the other. It should be a symbiotic relationship where you gain one from this and you gain one from this. So if there's no value in that relationship, you'll have problems. So businesses should treat volunteering as a value-based relationship. You give something to get something in return. You're not just using people, right? Because if you end up using people, you'll be called out and you'll be dragged for using people. So I think I'll end at that point.
All right. Thank you very much. It has been a conversation here on the show at the Corporate Life show. This show takes place every month. Every month. Every month. We come up with a new conversation. And next month, we're coming up with something even more interesting. Something. Remember the saying, uh, uh, a king in the business. We call them customers, right? So we'll be dealing with something around customer service, and we want to see how your service, how you enjoy being served, how you should also serve others so that they can enjoy your service, and vice versa. Whether you are going to become a king or a servant at a point in time, we all wear that shoe and we all know where it's pinching. So we'll be talking about customer service next month. So join us at the Corporate Life Show where we will discuss that matter again, and we'll see how it helps you become a better version of yourself. And remember, my name is Adene Makati. I'm your host at the Corporate Life Show with McAden. And thank you very much, Mr. Sheo, for joining us on the show tonight. The network has been a little bit fluctuating, but then we're able to deal with those questions. So if you have questions for us or for Mr. Seun Odegbami, please just drop it in the comment section of this live session. And if you are watching the repeat version of this session, please, your questions will also be tweeted so that we can be sure that you've gotten value for this time. So thank you very much once again. And Mr. Sean, do you want to say bye-bye to our audience, please?
All right, thank you again for the invite. It was a pleasure, and thank you for having me, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
All right, from here we say have a wonderful weekend to you all. So and feel free to always stay tuned on the Corporate Life Show. On our page we have wonderful information shared across every day of the week, so that you can learn one or two things. Remember that our social media platform is filled up with information that helps you become better. And if you have not gotten enough information about what we've discussed tonight, you can also read up all the content we've been sharing on the platform since the beginning of this month. We've been sharing content that helps you become better using volunteering to for personal development and for growth in business. So thank you, and we say bye bye to everyone from here, and have a wonderful weekend.